So now let's create our snowman right from sketch. I open a new file, file new general, and I come up with a cube, of course, the famous cube, and I have additionally one camera here in the view, and there is also a light source. We can see them in the collection. So the cube isn't useful for a snowman, so I delete this one, and with Shift A I create a first mesh object, a UV sphere. So I put it in, and as you can see, it's faceted. At the bottom here, you can see that there is add UV sphere, and inside you can see how many facets you have, 32 and 16 in the other direction. And the radius is 1 meter. So that's a huge sphere, so it's 2 meters in diameter. So what do I have to do now? Yeah, I can just scale it, but I don't want it. I want to make a huge snowman, of course, but I want to see it smooth. So with right mouse button, you can say, just show me the smooth version, shade smooth, and put away all the facets by tessellation and by just shading. It's not changing the model, it's just a shading operation, the shade smooth, as it's named, of course. Now, the second thing I want to see is have a better view of how the snowman would look like. This is grayish and looks a bit dirty, so I go to the viewport shading, which makes it a lot nicer, and then I want to move it up to the floor, so I go with G for moving or grabbing, and Z, and go up until I have it just right touching the bottom a little bit, and at the correct position. Now I have my first sphere, and I can create easily another one with Shift D for duplicate, and then GZ again, and I have a second one, and with S for scaling, I make that one a bit smaller, and again Shift D, and I go up again with GZ, and I do another scaling, and I have the head of my snowman. So here we go. We have 3 of them now created. And what would be next? So maybe the arms would be next. So I go to the middle sphere and make a Shift D again and move it to the left or right. So GY. And then I scale it, but this time I don't scale it in general because that is only bigger or smaller. I just want to scale it in Y direction to make it thinner. But at the moment it still looks like a disc. And so if I go to GX and scale it again, no, not GX, sorry, SX for scaling, G would be moving, as you've seen. Then I have something which looks like an arm, and I can rotate it. Now rotating this object is with R, and when I want to rotate around a certain direction, I have to give the direction as I did with moving and scaling. So I can use X direction, and then I rotate the arm to the right. Now I have this arm here on this side, and I want to have a second one with Shift D, of course, and move it to the other side. And this one goes up, let's say, not so much, maybe just rotate a little bit around X and make it a bit like this. So now I have a nice arm, and after this I just have finished all the white snow spheres which I need for my snowman. So the next thing would be the coals for the eyes and the mouth. So I take the first sphere of the head and Shift D, create a copy of it, go to the left, and then scale it down to have an eye. As it's fastly scaling, I can hit Shift and then it's slower scaling, so I have more feeling about when it's good enough as an eyeball. So like that. That would be good. But what I need is another shader. So the shading material at the moment is white, so it should be dark and black. So I go here and create a new shader, and this new material should be dark. So I just change the color to dark, and that's it. And then I can move the eyeball GX a little forward, then GZ a little upward, and then GY to the middle. So here we go. We have a first eyeball, Shift D, of course, to get a second one, GY, and this one is on this side also. That was too far away. I could have mirrored somehow, but I don't use mirror in this first exercise. So now I have them and I can create the mouth with some other coals. So I just copy again, Shift D and G, go down here, and GY, a little inward. No, not Y, GX is it? So, and the sphere is a bit too big, so I would just S and Shift and make it a bit more tiny, like that maybe. And then Shift D, second, Shift D, third, Shift D, and fourth. And I have just move them inside a little bit, GX, so they stick into it, GX. So something like this is quite nice. That's a bit too much above, so I go a bit down, and this one is too low, so I go a bit up and come a bit forward. So now the coals look right for a mouth, and what's missing is the carrot. So I need a carrot. Where is a carrot? Let's see, Shift A. There is no carrot, but what we have, Shift A. There's no carrot, but what we have is a cone, which can be useful for this. So I go up, this G, Z again, I go up. It looks like a hat at the moment, and it's faceted again, so we know already that we put a shade smooth on it. And then we know already that there should be another material, so I create a new material and I change the color to carrot color. Let's say like that. And then I scale the whole thing, make it smaller, and I scale it into X direction because carrots are usually a bit longer. So I make a scale Z, make it longer. Whoops. And then I move it with G somewhere towards the front, rotate it, so rotate Y direction would be correct, I think. And then G again to move it somewhere towards the front, go closer, so we are just right in front of the snowman. So GX should be useful to go into the material. We are somewhere else than we thought. So let's go towards the middle again and then go down. GZ. Oh, now it looks pretty nice, I think. That makes absolutely sense. And what we need else is a cylinder maybe for the head. Shift A again, and then we say cylinder. And with the cylinder, we go up. We just change to smooth shading. Then we scale it. And as you can see, it's not black, so it should be black also. Maybe more reflection than the coals. So we do another material. And this one is also black, but it has some nice reflections. So we can just see that it's something like that maybe. And of course, we need a second part for the cylinder. I copy this one again and scale it with Z, smaller, whoop, and then scale it outside a bit, and then move it down with GZ. So here we go, and I select both of them because a cylinder usually doesn't sit right vertically, and we have to rotate a bit. So we do a rotation and make it a bit like that, and GY. And a bit, something like that. So here we go, and what we need is a stick for walking, a walking stick, I would say, for a snowman. And this should be a cylinder again, so I go Shift A, and I say Mesh Cylinder, and I put it to the side, scale it of course, and it's made of wood, so I do a new material. And I look for something brownish. So that's somewhere maybe here, and a bit saturation should, no, not saturation, sorry. The value must be smaller. Then it's getting darker. And it's not too brown, I say that. And something like that, let's say. It's more red. Doesn't matter. Scale a little bit and then scale to Z direction. That. And move it. And let's see. Where is our snowman? Oh, so we have to go towards the front with X. And then we go a little bit up. And so here it is. Rotate the whole thing a bit. It looks better when it's not straight. And then here we have our snowman standing upright in front of us. And let's have a plane, Shift A, to have some snow on the ground also, and scale the whole thing. And then move it up a bit so that we don't see this mesh lines. And here is our first result. So this is the very basic thing in Blender. We did some movements, we did some rotations, we did some scalings, we did duplicate our things, we created materials and assigned them automatically. And yeah, we have our snowman.